So you're looking for a home in the Chicago area. You're probably thinking about all the usual stuff, right? Neighborhoods, schools, how much space you need. But what if I told you the most important factor is actually the one you deal with every single weekday morning? In this explainer, we're going to flip the script on how you search for a home by putting your job front and center.
Just take a second and really think about that. Your commute, that time you spend in the car or on the train, does it get you pumped for the day or does it just completely drain you before you've even had your first cup of coffee? This question is so important because that daily trip has a much bigger impact on your life, your stress, and even your money than you probably realize.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. This insight comes from our expert for this explainer, Kate Mengen-Smith. She's a broker at Compass, and she's been doing this for 24 years in the Chicago market. She connects two massive ideas here: your personal happiness and the actual financial value of your home. It's not just about convenience. There is a straight line between how happy your daily life is and what your house will be worth down the road.
So let's really dig into the problem we're trying to solve here. We're calling it the commute dilemma. And the whole idea is that a long, stressful commute isn't just, annoying. It's a huge factor that can seriously make or break how you feel about your quote-unquote dream home. If you get this part wrong, you could be setting yourself up for years of just unnecessary daily struggle.
The solution, believe it or not, starts with a pretty simple shift in how you think about all this. Treat your workplace like an anchor for your entire home search. And to get why this is so critical, especially in Chicago, you have to understand the massive scale of the city's big employers. We are talking about tens of thousands of people, all moving in pretty similar patterns every single day.
I mean, look at the U.S. government, for example. They employ nearly 50,000 people in the area. That's not just a statistic. That is a massive community of people whose home search is pretty much defined by needing to get to specific federal buildings and offices.
And it's the exact same story with Chicago Public Schools. You've got over 39,000 staff members. We're talking teachers, administrators, you name it, all tied to specific schools. You can start to see how these clear geographic patterns for home buying start to take shape all over the city.
The private sector, same deal. You have over 16,000 people at JPMorgan Chase, right downtown, 15,000 at the University of Chicago on the south side, and another 14,000 at United out by O'Hare. Each of these companies creates this powerful gravitational pull on the housing market around them.
Okay, so you know all this now, but what do you do with it? Well, in this next section, we're going to break down a real pro-level strategy. We're going to map out some specific advice based on which employment sector you're in. This is where we turn theory into action. All right, first up, the huge group of professionals who commute into the loop every single day. We're talking about people who work for giants like JPMorgan Chase, the city of Chicago, AT&T, you get the picture. Your number one goal is a smooth, reliable trip into the heart of the city. And that means you got to start thinking in terms of transit lines, not just cool neighborhoods. Whether you're looking in the city or out in the suburbs, start your search by looking at homes near Metra stations or along the L lines. The goal is a dependable commute, ideally right in that 20 to 45-minute sweet spot. Okay, let's switch gears and talk about another huge employment engine, what people call the eds and med sector. This is everybody at the University of Chicago, UIC, Northwestern, and the big hospital systems like Advocate Health. For you guys, the anchor point is a very specific campus. And for this group, it is all about proximity. Your search should really radiate out from your campus. Maybe that means finding a walkable neighborhood right next door, or maybe it means finding a suburb with a direct, easy route on the expressway. The whole point is to minimize that daily grind. Next up, a group with a super unique commute: airline employees. If you work for United or American, your whole professional life revolves around one place, O'Hare International Airport. And your big challenge is just getting to the edge of the city, often at really weird hours. The key here really is direct access. The CTA Blue Line is a lifeline. It runs 24/7 right to the airport. So searching for a home anywhere along that line is a fantastic strategy. Or you could look at certain suburbs that have really easy expressway access that can make that drive to O'Hare way less of a headache. But of course, companies don't always stay in one place, right? A corporate relocation can throw a huge wrench in your long-term plans. But even when that happens, this job-first strategy is still the key to making the right move.
Let's look at a couple of real-world examples. When Walgreens moved a bunch of employees to its headquarters in Deerfield, those workers had to totally rethink a new reverse commute. But an even bigger shift happened when S.C. Johnson moved up to Racine, Wisconsin. That forced a massive question. Do you just move, or do you find a strategic spot in a northern suburb to make a cross-state commute work? See, in both cases, the anchor point shifted, but that job-first thinking was still the key to figuring it all out.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about your current job, but what about your next one? This is where we take this strategy to the next level, from just solving an immediate problem to making a really smart, long-term financial investment. And you know what? The hard data totally backs this up. Homes with good access to transit, like a Metra station or an L line, they consistently sell for more. We're talking anywhere from 5 to 15% more than similar homes that are totally car dependent. That's not just a little bonus, it's a real equity advantage that's built right in. And that right there is the long-term payoff. When you buy near a major transit hub, you're not just buying a home for the job you have today. You're buying a home that will always be attractive to thousands of other professionals. That gives you flexibility for your own career moves and protects your investment because there will always be people who want to live there. So let's tie this all together. We've talked about the problem, we've looked at the data, and we've mapped out different strategies for different jobs. Now let's boil all this down into a clear, simple framework you can actually use for your own home search. Now, all through this explainer, we've been leaning on the expertise of Kate Mangan-Smith. With more than 2 decades under her belt as a Compass broker, her whole specialty is helping Chicago professionals line up their real estate choices with their career realities, which is exactly the framework we've been talking about. And it really just comes down to this simple 4-point checklist to guide you. Number 1, start with your commute time. Number 2, look at transit access. Number 3, think about the long-term investment. And only then, after you've done all that, do you filter those options through your personal lifestyle and your budget. It's a roadmap to a much smarter decision. And if you want to put this strategy into practice with an expert who can guide you, here's your next step. Kate is offering a free market strategy session to help you map out your own specific situation. All of our contact info is right there on the screen for you. So we'll just leave you with this final thought. When you put your work life first in your home search, you're doing so much more than just finding a place to live. You're actually designing a life with less stress, more time, and a much smarter financial future. Thanks so much for tuning in.